Alright, let's regroup. Okay, last time we went over our three trig ratios, okay, sine, cosine, and tangent. And what was the acronym that we are going to write on our papers to remember that? SOHCAHTOA, okay? So for 1, 2, and 3, they just wanted you to set up your ratios and figure out which trig function you should be using. Okay, so in relation to x, what is 15? Opposite. And 25 is? The hypotenuse. So which trig function should you be using? Sine. So you have the sine of x equals what? 15 over 25. Awesome. Moving on. Number 2, what is 20 in relation to x? Adjacent. Why is it not the hypotenuse? It is not across from the right angle. 40, on the other hand, is the hypotenuse. Okay? When you have adjacent and hypotenuse, which trig function should you be using? Cosine. So cosine of x equals 20 over 40. Okay? And then 3, what is 15 in relation to x? Opposite. And 12? Adjacent. So which trig function? Tangent. And what's your ratio? Awesome. Okay, so what is different about these problems compared to what we did last time? What did we call that thing? Reference angle. Okay, so you are missing the reference angle. Okay, so you are solving for the angle rather than sides. Okay, so you're not learning any new ratios today, okay? So sine is always going to be opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse is always cosine, and opposite over adjacent is always tangent, okay? So when you are solving for the reference angle, you will always use inverse trig, okay? So solving for an angle, you will always use inverse trig. So, with your little calculator, okay, inverse trig functions are located on the same buttons, except for they're the baby blue ones above it. Okay, so to get to those inverse trig buttons, you press second and then sine. So, for example, number 1, when I press second sine, I get inverse trig, and I'm going 15 over 25, and that's going to tell me what that angle measure was. And what is the angle measure to the nearest hundredth? Very good. X equals 36.87 what? Degrees. Check your calculators. Make sure you are in the right mode. Okay, do the same thing for 2 and 3. Solve for the angles in 2 and 3. Okay, what did you get as the angle measure for number 2? Okay, and number 3? Very good. Questions on that? Okay, this only works if you are solving for the angle. You will never use inverse trig to solve for a side. only the angle. Okay, on the back we just did 1, 2, and 3. That was the same thing as the first 3 on your warm-up. Okay, so skip down to use triangle ABC below to determine which equations is or are correct. Circle all that apply. Okay, with your table, see if it's A, B, C, or D that is correct. You guys kind of know what you're looking at, or do you want me to look at A with you? Okay, so for example, let me look at letter A with you guys. They're saying that the measure of angle B, so if that was X, equals sine, which means what? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so they're saying that AC is opposite of B, is that correct? Yes. Is BC the hypotenuse? No. So then this could not be true. So we know A is not true, and you're going to go through all of them and do the same thing.
Wouldn't that not be right saying that they would have to measure what it would have to be BC over A theta? For opposite over, it would have to be BC over A theta. Where it's not because you have to have opposite of A. Oh, it's B. It's just the angle, so it's at the right angle. I hate doing that sometimes.
Okay, is B true?
Yes.
Yes. Is C true?
Yes.
Who said no? Okay, so you're looking at A. Cosine is what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Is AC adjacent to A?
Yes.
Yes. Is AB the hypotenuse?
Yes.
Yes. So both those are good. C, did we say yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And D?
Yes.
Yes. So B, C, and D are all true. Anybody need help on those? Alright, then the last one. Find the measure of angle C. Okay, find the measure of angle C. What sides are in relation to C? 3.5 is what? Adjacent. 6.5 is hypotenuse. Oops. So we're doing cosine. So cosine of x equals 3.5 over 6.5. So the cosine inverse of 3.5, 6.5 equals x, which is what? Questions on that one? Yeah.
Are we supposed to round to like 100 or the cell? On like
It'll tell you. It will tell you.
Oh, okay. It will tell you. Okay,
Okay, here's how a quiz or test question would work though. Okay, so you just found your angle, right? Okay, now they might ask you to solve for AB. Originally, yes, you could have done it by doing Pythagorean theorem first, but that would have been harder probably. Then now you have your angle, so how can I solve for x now?
Do sine?
Sine or
Tangent?
tangent, because you could say x over 3.5 for tangent, or you could say x over 6.5 for sine, and you know that your angle is now 57.42 degrees.
And then you flip back to, like, not the inverse, so...
Right, because now you're solving for a side. So it would be the sine 57.42 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so your test could ask you to solve for more than one thing. So be ready for that. Okay, on your desk,